Untouchables or the Children of India's Ghetto by Babasaheb Ambedkar. Part 3, Chapter 8 1. Classes which, like the Untouchables, were lowly and despised have at one time existed in other societies also. For instance, they existed in once ancient Rome. The population of ancient Rome fell into five classes: 1. Patricians, 2. Plebeians, 3. Clients, 4. Slaves, and 5. Freemen. The patricians were the ruling class. They were the civics in every sense. The rest were all servile in status. The plebs and the clients were destroyed by war. Those of the newcomers who invoked the protection of the heads of patrician families of repute and were ready to become their vassals were known as clients. Those who were too independent to brook submission to a private patron put themselves under the direct protection of the sovereign and became royal tenants and were known as plebeians. The plebeians had the right to hold property, both movable and immovable, to transfer it by courtean modes of conveyance, and to have the protection for it by the tribunals. But the plebeian had no share in the government of the city. He was a half-fledged citizen, civius sine suffragio. The plebs were denied any participation in the religion of the city, and as men to whom the suspicion was incompetent, any intermarriage between the patrician and plebeian was out of question. The client had to look to his patrician patron for support and maintenance.
The patrician patron had to provide all that was necessary for his sustenance and that of his wife and children. This relation was a hereditary one, a client passed on from father to son. The client had not only to depend upon his patrician patron for his maintenance, but he had also to depend upon him for his legal protection. Not being a civic, a client had no right of suit, and his patrician patron had to assist his client in his redress for him for his injuries and represent him before the tribunals when he became involved in litigation. As to the slaves, there were millions of them. A single rich landholder might own hundreds and even thousands, and it was a poor man that did not have several at least. They were just things to be owned. They were not persons in the eye of the law and had therefore no rights. They received kind treatment from a few humane masters, but generally they were treated with the greatest cruelty. If a slave coughs or sneezes during a meal, if he lets a key fall noisy onto the floor, we fall into a great rage. Often we strike too hard and shatter a limb or break a tooth, said Seneca. One rich Roman used to punish his slaves for carelessness by casting them into a fish pond as food for lampreys. The slaves who displeased their masters were ordinarily sent to an underground prison. During the day, they had to work loaded with heavy iron chains. Many were branded with red hot iron. The mill where the slaves had to work is thus described by the Roman author: Gods, what poor shrunken up men, with white skins striped with blows of the whip. They were only the shreds of Tunis, bent forward, head shaved, their feet held in a chain, the body deformed by the heat of the fire, the eyelids eaten away by the fumes, everything covered with grain dust. The end.